Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, The Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak the Universe Listens. Today's topic is skydiving. And I have with me today some of the members of the Speak the Universe Listens team. And that's on my right, we have Scott McLean.
Hey.
We have Deborah Berry.
Hey.
And we have Stephen Friend.
Hey.
And so the four of us, along with two of our other team members, have been on a retreat this weekend. And one of the things we did was went to an indoor skydiving facility. And so we thought it was a wonderful metaphor for life. And so I'm going to throw the question out on the table. I guess I'm going to start off with saying, how did you like the skydiving activity?
It was pretty awesome though. It was something different. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself.
I felt like a superhero for a moment. Got to
Yeah.
hover in the air. Very nice.
Yes. And so I really love just the idea of doing something different, kind of stepping out of your comfort zone. So did anybody feel like that was out of their comfort zone to do that?
I did. It was something that I wouldn't normally do, but since it was something that was new, it was like, okay, this is something new. All right, let me go out here and test the waters and see what this is about. But at the end, though, I really enjoyed myself. I really did. So I think in life, that's something that a lot of us need to look at that we don't look at sometimes. So just thinking about what are some things or some variables that make us not step outside of our comfort zone. And then just think about when you do step out your comfort zone, what made you feel good about it.
Yes.
Just thinking about those things. And when you think about what made you feel good about it, then you start to be like, okay, this is not that bad. It's not that bad.
So not as bad as it seemed before.
Exactly. It's not that bad as it seemed before. So, what about yourself?
Yeah, I always like doing new things. Like I'm a chicken, right? So even with that, it wasn't necessarily out of my comfort zone, but because I hadn't done it before, I was just kind of like paralyzed, and I was just looking at everybody before me, seeing how are they doing it, and what do I need to mimic, and what do I need to make sure I don't do. Like some people were like looking like they were getting close to hitting the wall, and I know we weren't really going to hit the wall, but And so I notice like whenever I do new things, I get tense. Like I can feel the tension in my body. And then once I do it, probably depending on what it is, I guess, but within a few seconds, it releases and I'm able to enjoy the moment.
So that's the tension peak just before you get started. Right. Yeah. Anytime you're doing something, I don't know, for me at least anyway, I always feel it.
I do too myself, yeah.
Embracing yourself for the unexpected. Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Although I had been before, it was different this time, unique, going with you all. But in comparing that to like just the reality of life, there were so many similarities one of which, you know, you had to kind of not be in control. There was so many elements that you couldn't control.
That's very true.
In the moment that you were in the, you know,
You mean like that 120 mile an hour
yes.
wind?
Right. It was coming at you. You had to face it, and you just had to, you know, like you said, you had that tension initially, but then you relax into it and just allow things to go the way they're going to go. But in that moment, I could look over and see you all doing the thumbs up. So that's another parallel, you know, to your reality. You know you don't have control over all elements, but you always have people in your corner cheering for you, giving you the thumbs up. And then, of course, we had an attendant who was guiding us, right? So that's the universe, like continuously guiding you. You're bumping into the glass, they pull you back, you're going too high. They're giving you cues, keep your chin up, arms out straight.
Relax.
Yes, absolutely. So those are some of the similarities that I picked up on, you know, as we're having our discussions on our the things we go through in life, and then to do that together. Everybody had the same components that were beyond their control, so we all had, you know, to deal with that, and then we did that in our own way, but the results were the same. We had each other's support, and in the end, we were good. We had a good time. So,
I think for the most part, though, everybody sort of was uncomfortable at first, but when they got out there, it was like, okay, all right, not bad, but you know, I'm still a little shaky a little bit, but for the most part, like she was saying, just pretty much just how our journey through life is almost. You know, each step in life you go through some things that some things are very uncomfortable, and some things are comfortable. But the things that are comfortable, those are some of the things that we need to just step away from a little bit, because you get so complacent, and then you get attached to what you know that it's hard to sit back and try to take on something new, because you have this attachment on what you know. So I loved it though. I did.
Now, one thing that was really nice is before we got in, there were, you know, the guys that have been doing it for a while, and you can just tell they flipped it upside down, and they're all in there together, going in circles and just doing all these different stunts, and to know that they were okay. You know, they're doing all this stuff. It's like, you know, I might not be there yet, but I know what's possible. I know what's on the other side of this fear, this anxiety that's just coming up. You know, it's being able to do that. They look like they're having an amazing time. You know, just
You're looking like, am I going to do that when I do that? It's going to be awesome.
You know, and I talked to like our instructor. He was like, "Oh, I've been doing this less than a year." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, after an hour of being in here, you'd be doing the same stuff."
I'm like, okay.
Like, wow, you know.
Yeah, what I found to be so cool was, like I said, when I first got in, I was kind of tense, and they like gave you the symbol like to relax, and I was able to do exactly when they say relax. I was like, oh, relax, and then I just allow, and it's kind of like I think you just said about being able to basically allow things to happen. Like you don't have to always try to offer resistance into things and try to force things, and like sometimes we stress ourselves out because we think it's not happening the way we want it to happen, and it needs to happen now, and so we're like, you know, but that calming down the resistance and just allowing things to flow.
Yes. And to add to that, so we each got to go twice, right? So of course, my personality, I'm trying to be perfect the first time. I'm like, I could do this, I've done it before, and it was like doing it for the first time all over again, you know, not remembering the signs right away, and then additionally facing you all and noticing that the air was like brushing my face and like my cheeks were going back, and I felt like I was salivating and spit was flying everywhere. So in those moments, I'm like, this, whatever it is gonna be. And then we got out, or I got out, and noticed that I had a second time. I was like, okay, do it perfect this time. And I get in, and it's the same thing all over again. I was just like, just let go. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, just the same thing with life. You have circumstances that are new to you. They catch you off guard. For whatever your personality is, you may try to do it perfect the first time, but no one's perfect. But you get a second chance to mess it up.
I like that.
But messing up is a part of the process, right?
It is. It's a beautiful thing, right?
And you keep going back, you'll be fine and doing flips and.
In an hour.
And one of the pieces that kind of stood out for me was, as I'm out there, I had my hands wide, my fingers open. And I didn't realize what the guy was doing when he was like grabbing my hand and, staying relaxed, but then he was like, fingers together. But when my fingers was open, I was kind of just bouncing and swaying all kinds of ways.
Right.
Once I closed my fingers, just that little small piece allowed me to straighten out. And then he was able to release me, so I was able to now just kind of flow with the wind a little bit better. And so just that little shift was enough to get things to happen the way they should be, compared to falling and flying all over the place. Before that I was hitting the glass and had to push off, and I think I kicked the guy one time. He had a hard time with everything, But just making that little shift just changed everything. And so this is, you were kind of talking about comparison to things that we do so often. A lot of times if life isn't going right, we think it's a huge shift that we have to make. I ain't doing none of this again. I'm going to get rid of all my friends, my family, get rid of everybody. I'm going to change everything. I'm leaving my job. We want to change everything. But sometimes it's just that little shift that's needed.
Yes. Yeah. I always reference Tony Robbins because he was one of my first kind of teachers, so to speak. And one thing that he pointed out, he was like, the difference between, let's say, great and extraordinary is very, very small. And that, let's just take a Olympic runner. So everyone finishes normally within a second of each other. But there's only one person that's going to get that goal. And that's the person that's outstanding, but they only did something like a 0.1 second faster. And that just the little bit of extra effort that it would take to do things in life can bump you from good to great, from great to extraordinary. And someone actually, I think I just heard Wayne Dyer saying that too. And of course, Wayne Dyer has passed, but I was listening to one of his tapes or something. And he was saying how a baseball player, and of course I'm probably going to have the stats wrong, but he was like, you have to be able to hit the ball 3 times out of 12, I believe, in order to be an average player. And he's like, think about that. You have to hit the ball 3 times out of 12 to be average. And he was like, what if you strove to hit it 4 times?
Right.
That's not that much difference. And then you can be the ball player that gets all of the rewards or whatever.
Just thinking that same line, the hot water could be 211 degrees, but 212 degrees is now water. There's that 1 degree difference that just changes everything. Boiling water, now you got the steam, you can create you can move a locomotive. You just do so many different things by that 1 degree difference. So, small change, huge difference.
I think a lot of us sometimes too, we think that the change is so hard, but really it isn't, but it's more of what we continuously keep telling ourselves. So if, just like today, I would have never thought I'd be going out there flying. That would have never been me. Okay, that wouldn't have been my first choice. Not at all. But when I went out there, whole mindset changed. All of the things that I was thinking about beforehand. What about this, or how am I going to do this, or all of the negativity that I had, right, went out the soon as I said that to myself, I go out there and I got it. You know, it was like, okay, it's not bad. But that's the same as for all of us in everyday life. You know, being very mindful of what we continuously tell ourselves. You know, you say you can't do something. You know, obviously, you can't do it.
But you know what I found to be really funny that you say that,
Yeah.
because not knowing what was in your mind, but when you came out, one of the first things you said was, "I got to bring my daughter here." And so imagine how it is, like, if you haven't tried certain things, then you don't expose your children to that.
Very
But
true.
once you're like, that's cool, you know, the more you experience, the more you can expose your children to it.
I think exposure is something that's very important in everyday life to anybody. You know, because the less exposure that you have to certain things in life, you limit yourself to a lot of things. You know, knowledge and learning. So yeah, most definitely though. I'm gonna take it up. Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
You know, it's interesting, just even on that same piece, you know, when we're talking to several people over the years, but just talking to somebody here recently that say no one in their family has ever owned a house before. And so they were hesitant to move forward to buy a house because they didn't know anybody in their family that ever did it. You know, so even just you taking that step, whether your daughter actually goes or not, but just to be able to talk to her about it, now has elevated her a bit. You just elevated your entire family by taking a step to do that.
And you know something, man? On that note of what you're just saying, it's sort of breaking a cycle because everybody has a cycle. It could be a generational cycle or whatever the cycle is. You get to a point where somebody has to break it, you know. And so who's gonna be woman enough or man enough to sit back and say, you know what, I'm gonna be the one to sit back and break this cycle, or I'm gonna be the one to sit back and make a change, you know. So I think a lot of us, and you were talking about this attachments, you know, how to sit back and get away from what we've been so used to, you know, how to step away from that normal and step into something new for ourselves, to take us to the levels and heights in our lives that we are trying to get to, you know. So yeah, man. If anything, trying to break the cycle of what you've been going through or what you know, I think is very important. You know? But not being scared to do it is the biggest step. And telling yourself that you got it and know that you got it and just do it.
You know, and if you're feeling the fear, then just do it anyway. You know, if you know that it's something that's good for you. You see other guys flying around and having a great time, and you know that it's a safe environment. You know that it's something that's good for you. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Right.
Let's keep moving.
By making those subtle shifts. Right. To put you in that right direction and being open to try it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Man, Steve Harvey said it best. He said, you should go out here. The thing that scares you the most is the thing that you should do. And when I thought about it, I put thought into it. I said, wow, the thing that scares you the most is something that you should do. So every day is something that everybody has that they have a little fear in doing. You know, I mean, it could be something small. You know, going to the gym, traveling. I mean, whatever the case.
Having a tarantula on your shoulder.
Yeah. Things of that nature. Things of that nature. Exactly. So when I think about that, it's like, wow, you know, that's a big step. Because if you can conquer something that you fear, you know, imagine what else you can sit back and do for yourself. So if we can do that, I mean, imagine where we can possibly be. Anybody, for that matter.
Right. Yeah, no limits.
No limits, exactly. No limits.
Yeah, so speaking of no limits, when I actually went skydiving, the real skydiving, that was the name of
Oh, really?
the skydiving company.
Okay.
Yeah, No Limits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so this has been awesome. I enjoyed having the experience with you guys.
Thank you.
And just really thinking about how that one activity really serves as a metaphor for life.
Absolutely.
I don't think I would have thought of that without you pointing that out. And so yeah, that was good. Yeah. So, but thank you for that. But I actually have been singing this song all week, and I don't know the name of it, but I think it's called Skydiving.
I don't know the name of the song.
Do you even know what song I'm talking about? So it's like, I'm not gonna try to sing it, but help me say the words. So I went skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing, rode 2.7 seconds on a horse named Blue Manchu.
Blue Manchu. I don't know.
And I loved deeper, and I spoke sweeter.
And I gave forgiveness that I've been denied.
I hope that someday you get the chance to live like you were dying.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
I
like
like
country
that.
song.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, even though you've been singing it, I've been playing in my head all weekend. So I might have heard you sing it, but it's been playing in my head all weekend.
And we just planned this skydiving trip last night at like 9 o'clock.
Last
So,
minute.
yeah. So, yeah. But again, once again, thank you guys. And look forward to seeing you guys again very soon.
So
Thank
definitely.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And don't forget to check out my podcast, my website at arvettemclain.com, and hit the subscribe button below. Until next time. Bye.